Well, hello, stamping friends. My name is Shelley Gardner, and I have a special guest here who's going to be stamping a beautiful card. I'm going to turn the time over to Jackie. So there you go. Take it over.
Shelley. Thank you. Welcome, and today we're going to make this beautiful card using the new stamp set Pressed Flowers and pairing it with the large stamp set Itty Bitty Greetings that's also new. And we are going to be using the Stamparatus while we make this project. So let's get started. First, we'll start with the background. And I've already begun stamping this. We will be using the small flower stamp and the new gray granite ink pad. And I'm going to stamp it off onto the grid paper and then stamp onto my card base like so. And that's finished. You don't really need to stamp through the middle because that will all be covered. And then let's stamp our main image now. And we'll be using a piece of Very Vanilla and this new Stamparatus tool. So let me show you a little bit about how this works. You're just going to place your Very Vanilla piece somewhere in the middle and use your grid lines. Now, because this stamp set is the red rubber, we don't need the foam platform here, but it does have a nice firm base for even stamping. And even when you are stamping on, say, some of the plastic tables or some of the uneven wood tables, this makes a nice base. And these magnets are really strong. So we're just going to place that around the top and at the bottom, and we'll stamp our flowers. So we're going to start with one of the larger images, and that one will be done in crushed curry. So we'll place our stamp down about where we want it to land, and using the hinge, pick it up like so, and then we'll ink that up in the crushed curry ink and stamp that down. And we're actually going to stamp this 3 times to make a darker image. And because we're using the Stamparatus, you can just stamp that exactly where it was before. Now we're going to turn our plate around and use the other side. And this time, let's use the more poppy image and place that about so. And again, position that onto our tool. And this one we'll use in Calypso Coral. And stamp, and again ink. Like so. Now the Stamparatus does come with a second plate which can fit in the top grooves, or you can just remove this one and place it on the right hand side as well. That's really handy for when you're making multiples of the same project. We'll position our more fern looking stamp about here. And this one we're going to stamp in Tranquil Tide. So again, we'll stamp that one 3 times. Like so. And then our final image for this, let's see, we'll place that one around on the left-hand side. And this one we'll use in the new Grapefruit Grove, which this one I believe will be one of my favorite colors. And also stamp this one 3 times. Now there is also another little leaf image in here. I might just remove this one. And that one we can just place in a few different spots, and that one will be in the mint macaron, one of my favorite colors, returning, and stamp that one also 3 times. So you're getting very rich and dark images. All right, so that is the stamping of all of our flowers done. Now we can do the background image, or the background of this, and that is also in that stamp set, a nice textured Look, now this one, you can do this before you do the flowers or after. So this one I'm going to stamp it off and then just kind of lightly tap it several times to get kind of an uneven background through there. Okay, so something like that looks really good. Now we'll add our embellishments and some detailing. So we'll get our scissors ready. We have our card base, and this is some papers from the Tea Room Designer Series, and we're just needing a little strip of that because you're just going to see a little bit along the side. And you can just, oops, I've torn that, but hey, it's more texture. Oh, really torn that one. Just adding a little bit of distressing along the edge with your scissors. And then you can use your fingers and really get in there and get the corners to pull up and even separate a little bit if you would like. Okay, so let's go ahead and put that down. That one was a little bit off to the side. And before we put our main image flowers down, we'll add a little bit of twine around. And I find the easiest way to do this, rather than trying to tie it and wrap it, is just to, maybe a little lower, just to wrap it a few times and then cut it. And then just take a separate piece to tie your bow. Okay, then you can just fiddle around with your bow until it looks how you want it to look. And I kind of like when they go off to the side and just a little bit more natural looking. And then that, oops, that piece goes up with dimensionals. And that one you can put a little bit on a diagonal or straight as you wish. Now we're going to add a little bit more interest to this project and use some vellum, and we will be embossing that with the subtle embossing folder and the vellum. So this embossing folder just adds some texture as if the paper were linen or something similar. Now with the thick embossing folders, you just need the plate or the base and one plate. Okay, I don't know if you can see that really well on the video, but it's just got a nice texture to it, especially on the vellum where the textured part comes out a little more white. Then we have a little tiny piece of the Very Vanilla, and we will stamp the With Gratitude stamp in the Grapefruit Grove. And the vellum, we're actually going to tear all four sides. And we'll adhere that to the card front. That can go, I'm going to just tear that a little bit more, underneath the twine, like so. And then using the dimensionals, we'll place the sentiment over the top. So there's our finished project. Isn't it beautiful? And be sure and stamp the inside of your card and your envelope as well for a really professional finish. I hope you've enjoyed this and you give it a try. Thanks for watching.